I want to go back to you saying that if your dad isn't of a Hebrew Israelite descent, then you can't be one of us, right? How about people who are black or Mexican? They look black and look Mexican, and because of their appearance, they still go through the same struggles as a black person or Mexican, and their father may be white or whatever.
I mean, that happens. There's Bible verses that allude to that, like the wheat and the tares and things like that. That there are going to be people among us who have a a lineage that's not of us, and some of it would be distinguishable and some of it would be indistinguishable, right? And Christ, when he taught on that, he's like, don't even worry about that. In the end, that'll get sorted out. That's not for us to worry about and dictate.
So this is, I'm going to ask this, right? So about 2 weeks ago, it went super viral, right? I don't know if you're too familiar with a rapper out here in OC, Drex the Joint.
Yeah, Drex,
Drex, right?
For sure.
Pretty much, are you familiar with the situation? Well, for the viewers who don't know, pretty much he went on a live and someone around him, they dropped the M-bomb with a hard ER, right?
Yeah.
And people were getting on Drex because they were like, bro, like, yeah, I get your parents are Mexican, but like you look black, So, and they were saying that, they were pretty much saying like, bro, like you're confused. Like, yeah, you're Mexican, but you're black, bro. Like, you literally look black, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, how do you feel about that situation?
Well, this is how I feel about that. Like, number one, a lot of people don't understand the complexities of the history of Mexico. I believe he's from Guerrero. If you look into the history there, you have indigenous people. You do have some importation of slaves from Africa as well by the Spanish. So you have that there. But I also know people who are like completely indigenous. They look exactly like Drex as well, right? So he may or may not have quote unquote black ancestry, regardless of what our perception is. Because of course, perception is crazy sometimes. In America, we look at things like, okay, you see Drex, that's a black person. I know I grew up with people, went to school with people who was like him, look like him, but are totally Mexican. You see what I'm saying? So the complexity here is, you have black people in America that we have our American perspective, not understanding that to him, it doesn't matter what he looks like, he's Mexican, right? That's who he is, that's what he is, that's his culture, that's what he identifies with, period, right? So there's an expectation there because of his perceived blackness, right? Now, on the other hand, to me, it's like, to hell with whatever people perceive him as. He's Mexican. That's what he is. That's what he identifies as. That's fine with me. Still that like, and a lot of these youngsters right now are reckless and don't realize the efforts that some of those older heads have made to try to clear up some of that racist ideology or lines that was pushed by certain varios. There's a lot of that's going on. If we go just to the peace treaty with Florencia and East Coast, stuff like that is something that the veteranos have observed, looked at, identified, and are looking to change the perception of Southern Raza as a whole. So when you are not being mindful of that and you're representing something, you're writing something on the wall and you're putting a number after you write something on the wall, and that the people who are calling the shots for that are trying to steer you away from that, you deserve disciplinary action for that. Because what you're doing is you are continuing a narrative that's being pushed on this very large group of people of Southern Mexicans that they're trying to get away from, right? So that was, to me, that's the bigger picture is Drex. He should have been checked for saying that, period, especially on live, knowing here you are trying to blow up as a rapper in a black-dominated industry.
Right.
You are silly as hell. He should have been immediately checked for that. And it's like, bro, why do you even feel that casual about just like, what are y'all thinking about? That's how I looked at it. Like, what are you thinking about? And then two, because Drex said later, oh, he got DP'd over that or whatever. But now, homies from my hood, when there was a situation with a Ilotero being victimized during the Hoovers, and I've been affiliated with the Hoovers since I was a kid, in Washington before I even moved to California. So, that was handled to me in a perfect way, where you had the homie Jap 5 do a public DP, record it and propagate it, and then we did a collective black and brown event the homies did at Manchester Park. just to show the solidarity, the unity, and this is not going to be tolerated from none of our homies to victimize innocent Latinos. So I think that if he got DP'd, we should have seen that he got DP'd.
And that, because a rapper out of OC or Doso Official, he had actually,
I remember he had the podcast, Dope, right?
Yeah, but he had made a post on Instagram saying that, bro, like if you're gonna diss online, the DP needs to be online, and he had referenced the same situation with the Hoovers and Jet 5. Do you feel like that's what's needed?
For sure.
In order to bounce back from what happened?
Yeah, in order to bounce back from what happened, examples got to be made, and we have to every side has to show like, hey, this is intolerable, and we want to display this is how we're treating this behavior, and that's going to, number one, discourage people from partaking in that behavior, and that's going to show like showing a good faith, like, hey, we're not allowing that. Like even with the I heard guys from East Coast after the peace treaty came with Florencia and East Coast, and they're like, hey, we at the park with our kids, and you got OGs from Florencia coming, and they bought all the black kids and some candy or some ice cream in the park. Stuff like that is what you got to show, hey, it's good, it's dead, we're cool, we can move on without any issues or any tension anymore. You have to. It's the same way countries operate. You got to do a show of good faith to show, okay, the issue is dead.
Do you feel like if that doesn't happen, like his rap career is done?
I think it's in jeopardy.
Because it's very serious. Like,
for sure,
people are on his ass like heavy,
and they're gonna keep being it. And he's young, but that's the thing too, is with him not being from an actual barrio, he doesn't have. Where's his big homies to pull his coattail? Like, hey, you need to fix that, bro. You need older wisdom around you to give you that guidance. And he just is a tagger. You don't have that as a tagger. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's something too that he's missing there, is like thorough guidance from just an older guy.
He had recently did a stream with a popular a streamer, Oblivion, on Kick, and he's Mexican, right? And at one point in the live stream, Oblivion, he asked Drex if he could use the N-word, right? And Drex is all like, "Why you asking me, my boy? Like, I'm not black, I'm Mexican." How do you feel about that? Like he's denouncing his blackness when he obviously looks black.
Yeah, I mean, he I don't know if, again, because like I said, I've seen indigenous people that look exactly like Drex, but then too, when I look at his brother, I'm like, okay, his brother, he definitely looks black. You know what I'm saying? Drex, he looks black, but also like if he was just a straight up Indian, I can see that. You see what I'm saying? Like a native, like a native Mexican, like no admixture type deal. I can see that as well. But to me, it's like, even if you don't identify, and this be a thing too, like I see it on the other side too of Mexicans that's in black gangs. You don't need to denounce who you are just because this is who you run with. You're still who you are, bro. Take full ownership of who you are. Like, I got little homies that's Mexican. I don't tell them you're black now because you from here now. You see what I'm saying? You're still very much a Mexican.
No, but his case is he clearly looks black.
He clearly looks black, and he's from Mexico, and all that's fine. But just to say is, why are you asking me? I'm not black. So, okay, so to quantify, what are you? Have you took a DNA test? Are you familiar with your family's ancestral history? Because like I said, if he's from Guerrero, there's clear history of slaves, black slaves being brought into Guerrero. You mean to tell me you don't have any genetic relation to those people? And then also there's a convolution there because black is a race and Mexican is an ethnicity, and technically you could be any race and be Mexican, right? So then there's the confusion there. So I think some of us need to really like be sat down and gone through a class on this shit to understand. You might sound, and even if you think you're right, nigga, to the world, you look dumb as hell. Because you sitting there looking black as hell, telling people like a Dominican, I know black. Yeah. Everybody looking at you like, well, motherfucker, I can't tell. So he's got to really be more sensible about the shit that he says and that he does. Just in his position, he was catching a lot of heat. Like he was heating up. People were looking at him. You're black. You're Mexican. Okay, cool, we like you, but now you're doing this shit and you're confusing people and you make him be confused your goddamn self. So I think a brother like him need to be sat down and really talked to and really like his mind need to be recalibrated by somebody older with some wisdom.